Ahoy, ladies! Are you fun? Are you single and love to travel? Then you are in the right place. I'm Shelby, the solo travel expert, and I have hosted thousands of singles events on board and at resorts for so many fun singles. So this is not a dating service. This is just groups of people getting together that love to travel, and that's what we do best. So you're in the right place. So if you want to travel with other people that are like-minded, theme nights, cocktail parties, dance parties, all that kind of fun stuff, we have two main groups. We have the sophisticated singles down there, you can click, or we have our sassy, sexy singles down here. Maybe you're a little of both. That's cool too. Our sophisticated singles, we do more river cruises, more that are kind of culturally interesting. And then of course with our sexy, sassy singles, it's more of a crazy party. So it's up to you. Message me. I'm happy to help. I'm Shelby. You're fabulous. See you soon.
Hey, hey, hey! How's everyone doing today? We're back. I'm live. It's Shelby Live here. I really want you guys to ask me some comments too, because I can answer your questions, and I think I got a few in here already. Nancy says we're echoing. Am I echoing still? Okay. Huge echo. I heard huge echo twice. Are we good? Okay, I think we're good. Yay! All right. Let me know if we're good, please. Because I have some really fun information, some valuable information for you guys, and I want you guys to be a part of this. We were just on board with Richard Branson. I'm going to show you some real photos that we all captured throughout the cruise. Great. Thank you so much, Nancy. I appreciate that. She's part of my tech team. We all multitask here, right, Nance? You're hired. Okay, so we were just on board with Richard Branson and a fantastic, fabulous group of people, mostly singles. We had some cool couples. We don't discriminate. We just want fun party people that love to have a good time and treat themselves to the best. And boy, did we do that. There's so many questions people have about this cruise. In particular, I think I want to start from the beginning with Richard Branson. Yes, he was on board. And yes, we're actually able to meet him. If you wanted to meet Richard Branson, you could absolutely meet him. I had my chance several times that I could have chased after him because, for instance, we were at the bar, at the pool bar early morning, and he just walked by from the gym. He was at the gym and he just walked by. And I could have ran up to him, but I just didn't want to be a pest. It's like he's there with his family. He was there with his wife Joan, his daughter Holly, and his son Sam, and of course their families, except for the kids. The grandkids weren't there because it's adults only. And he also invited all of his Virgin Galactica team, basically his spaceship program that he's running, and he just went to space recently. He invited all of them to come and experience this incredible cruise. And then he just said anyone who wants to be on board could come. And I have to tell you, it was just an inspiring, magical thing to be a part of something so big that you have a star like rubbing elbows with you. Like I said, I'm going to show you pictures of just him around the ship. He didn't have bodyguards, which I really Richard, get some bodyguards. You're in America. He was just hanging out, and he would kind of shuffle through like, "Hey, everyone!" He would go through the coffee shops. He was at the trivia with our group. The last night, he decided who won by reading the writing of one of our guests. This most special story I want to save to the end. My favorite story about Richard Branson and one of our guests. Nancy got invited to cocktails with him, and Matthew got invited to cocktails with him because it was their birthday on the same day. He surprised everyone that had the same birthday and invited them to a private cocktail party with like 30 people. And so, you could totally have met him there too. I think what was so unique about the cruise was the people that were on the cruise. For example, you got on board and everybody was dressed to the nines. Like, usually I'm the fancy pants one, right? If you know me, you know that I travel in style. It's just who I am. I don't give a shit if someone like, oh, why are you so dressed up? Because I feel like it. You don't have to be, And that's kind of like what we want to promote with TravelFUN. We started this company right before COVID. I had been over 500 cruises. I have sailed over 500 cruises, plus traveled to several dozens resorts. And I've been in the travel business my whole life, my whole adult life. And then I was working with one of the biggest singles companies. And, then I got the opportunity to partner up with someone who was more innovative and said, we can do it our way and not just do the same old and cheapest. Like, cheapest is not the best. It's not. I mean, it's great value when you can go on some of those cheaper cruises. I wouldn't put any cruise line down. They all have their positives, but it's not the best. And then I've done really luxury, high luxury line, and I really love that. I love to give you guys that experience too. And then there's Virgin Voyages, which sits in a place of like modern Ibiza chic. Like it's luxury, but it's not stuffy, because when you do luxury, a lot of times we have the coolest groups. Everyone else is kind of stuffy, and like we accept all ages, races, creeds, whatever you're into. We're a very inclusive company because because Joel and I were bullied at school. Because Joel and I are very outgoing, and we've always kind of been our own people, and that was not the cool thing back in the 80s. You know, that was like the bad thing, and people didn't like that. They didn't like people that stood out, and even positivity. Like positivity is kind of a new thing. It was kind of like people didn't like the positive people. They were kind of annoying or something, and that's kind of who we've always just been. And we weren't aligned with the people where we were from. We all called them crabs in a bucket, really, for most of them. Most of them were never going to do anything different, and that's okay. Oh, great. Alexandria, I just saw you. I'll pop you in just a minute. It's like we were the type of people individually that wanted to do crazier things, that wanted to do more exciting, crazy, adventurous things that no one had done before. And Richard Branson is like that. And I feel like he brought those kinds of people on this cruise. And that was really such a different experience for me. Was the type of person that went on this cruise was positive, inspired, successful, dreaming about being more successful, what they could give, what they could give the world rather than what they can take from the world. That's a big difference in personality and in evolution of all of us as just, adults, like evolving to that point where what can I give versus what can I get? There's an evolution, and not everybody gets there, and that's okay too. No judgment. I don't care where you're at, as long as you're a nice person. That's all I'm worried about. Like, I only see people in two structures: nice and mean-spirited. And those mean-spirited, bullies, cliquey, all that BS, I don't want it. And so this was the cruise, finally, after COVID, that we got enough people to really see my vision of the kind of people that we're surrounding ourselves with. And the entire group, was individually so freaking cool. And you could just have a conversation anywhere you went. It was exciting. It was interesting. It was passionate. So anyway, we'll talk about more of that. All right. So Alexandra, I'm gonna see if I can pull you in and just tell me if you love the cruise or not. I know she doesn't have her video on, but let's see. Alexandra, can you hear me? Or are you muted? She might just want to listen.
I can hear you.
You can hear me. So Alex and I met on this cruise, actually. And this was a really good example of like just the kind of people that you're meshing with, because frankly, we really got to, we felt a kindred spirit right away. Right, Alex? I mean, and this is the first time we've talked since the cruise, but I don't know. When I met you, I felt like a magnet, That's how I felt.
Oh, it was great because like me and everyone's just so friendly, and you don't have to you don't have to be someone else when you're there. Right. You can just do whatever you want, and just be yourself, and no one's gonna judge you. And when I met you guys, I was like, oh my gosh, I was like, these people are great, and I'm so glad I met you guys. It was like the first day we were on the deck party. I was like, this is great.
It was really family, and I think the crew also did that too. Nancy, I see you. I'll bring you on in just a second. The crew, and Nancy mentioned this too, it's like the crew is just so they're family. Like it's not the same type of service that we gave when we worked on cruise ships. We had to do like that arm's length, like Princess Cruises was very, you're the servant, they're the guest. But they have created this kind of family feel, I think, with their crew. Did you feel that too?
For sure, definitely. And there's so many people that they recognized you throughout the whole ship, and they made it so special. Like every time they saw you.
Yeah, it was definitely not the humdrum. it was so I feel like there was an inclusive feel when I met you, and then we saw each other at that deck party where I feel like we really bonded. You know, this deck party was off the hook. It's just like, first of all, it was sexy, it was classy, it was exotic, it was exciting. You had the dancers there; they were doing all kinds of water work and like meshing up against you. You just felt such excitement and sensuality. I felt the sexuality like come out, but it was still very upscale and sophisticated.
For sure.
Did you like the dancing on deck with the water, or did you like the shows better?
That deck party was epic. That was a lot of fun. I mean, the shows are great. Like you don't see things like that a lot. But that deck party was definitely like let loose.
This is us, Alexandria. This is us, baby.
Yeah, there we go.
That we were all in our regular clothes. I'm sorry, I have these kind of out of order, but I have a few of the deck party. This was a great one too. Yeah, we were all in our clothes, and then we ended up. Some of us took our dresses off, and there were some ladies that took their tops off. It was very exciting. It was very classy too. I don't know how they're able to like really mesh the two. It's like upscale, sexy sensualness. So I'm going to bring Nancy on as well. Nancy, can we hear you?
Hi.
Hi. Happy
Hi.
birthday. Happy birthday. There you are. So Nancy and I go way back, actually. We met how many years ago?
God, 8, 6, something like that. I don't know.
Yeah, I think I was thinking 10. Nancy and I go way back, and Nancy, is just a good, cool cat. And like, we just always got along so well. And this cruise was really epic for you though. This was her actual birthday cruise. And she is one of the ones that shared an actual birth date with Richard Branson. So I'll let you tell them what happened when we were on board the second day.
Yeah, that was kind of cool. So I had the same birthday as Richard on the 18th, and I was actually in bingo with Catrice and Jason. Both me and Jason actually won the bingo, so it was kind of cool. And I checked my phone, and I got a message from guest services that I was invited to a private cocktail party with Richard at 4:00. And I was like, holy shit. I was like, I gotta go get ready, because it was also our formal night. So I was like, oh, I gotta get ready a little bit early. And it was down in the dock, I believe was the wake. I don't know. I still don't know the names of all the places on the boat. And it was very, there was security there. That was the only time I really saw Richard surrounded by security.
I never saw him surrounded by security. That's interesting. Okay.
I don't know if it was security, but there was definitely people around him,
right.
And they controlled who had access to Richard at that moment. I don't know if they were doing that in an effort to make it special for us, because it was also our birthday as well. But like, you had to show proof that you had an invite. And we got in. I have a video. I'll try to post it later. Just like you, I had many opportunities where I could have like grabbed him for a picture, but I felt like this dude's on vacation too. And I felt weird, kind of, but
I just think that speaks to the kind of people that were on this cruise, because I don't think you could have, the kind of people on this cruise were very respectful and understood that there's kind of like, there's a invisible line, and I think that made him more accessible, because he didn't have to like run away from us. Like,
no, he was like, every day we would just pop into him walking around a corner like, hey Richard, like it was and if you also think about it too, not only was he on board, which is a billionaire, but there must have been many other multimillionaires on board.
Absolutely.
And you never ran into anyone who had an aura of like, I'm better than you, I have more than you.
Right.
Everyone was so accessible, so open. Like, I probably had drinks with like a president of a fucking country and I didn't even realize it.
Right. Yeah. So you could tell right away when we went on board. I don't know if you noticed this, but this is something I noticed. is that, first of all, Richard was sat down for 2 hours and allowed people to take pictures with him during embarkation. Did you get a picture with him? I think you did, didn't you?
I didn't.
I didn't either. I missed it.
I wanted to get on board.
I missed it by like 5 minutes. We were like, rats. But he didn't have to do that. Like 2 hours of sitting there. I have a couple of pictures of our friends that got it done. But yeah, he was he didn't have to do that. And everybody was dressed to the nines. Like they were all like fancy. Like it was like the olden days when you dress up to go flying is how I felt. Like it was like that. It definitely felt like that. I'm going to show some pictures of like where let's see, when you guys just saw him. This one was from Trevor. Trevor took this picture. He just saw him at coffee. That's just at the regular buffet. He's at the buffet having coffee. Then he was at the pool. This is probably the same day that Jason saw him in the pool. And Jason had a selfie with Richard Branson in the pool, which is just so neat. Let's see. Let me see if I can get this so that they can see a little better. This was another one of the people that just was at the pool and he just said hi. He's just, very accessible. Well, this was the picture I'm talking about. He basically, everybody for like the first 2 hours of embarkation was able to get their picture with this background and it was really him. And like that was surprising. We never knew, this is us. We never knew if we were going to see him or if like we were going to be able to take a selfie or anything, but the anticipation of it all was also a magic that I feel like we never experienced before on a regular cruise, right? Yeah. So
just walking on the boat, I knew it was different. Just walking on the boat. First of all, you walk past Richard Branson getting on the boat. I was like, wow, this is a whole different level. And then just walking on the boat with the entertainment staff, just like right there, like dancing and partying. I was like, oh, this is something different.
Yeah. And the other things I feel like are different. I think the food quality, personally, I think the food quality is way better as far as quality. I know we have a group, so it's always a thing to get group dining, which we had. In fact, I always say like there's always improvements to be made everywhere, but the food itself, the food quality to me is like a next level, especially for it all being included in the price. Like I don't think it was that expensive to cruise with Richard Branson at all. No. I think they started the solo cabins, if you bought early, were like $1,500. And then of course the balconies were between, depending upon when you bought them, like 2,000 to 3,000, but you could put 2 people in there if you wanted. But I didn't think it was that pricey at all. Do you, like, as a consumer?
No, I mean, I've been on 5 cruises the past 6 months, and this was by far the most expensive. But then again, you also get what you pay for. When you bargain shop for cruises, you get you get a bargain. I wasn't looking for a bargain. I was looking for an experience. That's what I got.
Yeah, we did get it. It delivered. Elizabeth, I think, knows you from our singles days. And she's going on. And in fact, I booked her. I think it's the one before Halloween, right, Elizabeth? Is it? I think it's right before Halloween. You're going with a girlfriend. Anyway, she wants to know what your favorite food venue is. I'll tell you mine, and you tell her yours. My favorite food venue last time was the Wake. My favorite food venue this time was not the test kitchen.
Oh, yeah, we starved in the test kitchen.
We starved. It's supposed to be like Michelin style, like whatever. There's like smoke coming out of the food, and it's all designed so crazy. But I highly suggest eating before and after the test kitchen experience.
Yes.
But to the point like of everyone being so cool. I've been doing this for a long time. I don't think, like, when I went around to ask everybody, like, how's it going? I know it's been a while. They had some issues with staffing. They had some issues with their systems, and they were just basically, we starved, and it was 2.5 hours of chit chatting. Now, the way my group took this was like, we're just going to get to know each other. It's going to be fine. We'll just go to pizza later. Whereas most of my other groups, I'm sure I would have had 10 people screaming at me at the top of their lungs, like, I'm going to start. bitch. And like, I didn't have any of those people. And I think that was, again, a testimony to the kind of people that were attracted to this cruise. They're just cool. They're just freaking cool. Like, we're not going to make this ruin our cruise. We're focused on the good stuff. And went to pizza later and we laughed about it. But to answer your question, no, Elizabeth, my favorite one this time, I know it wasn't yours, but extra virgin. I mean, the carpaccio and the family style, we got to try everything. And I love pasta, and the steak was just outrageous. It was so good. I love Italian. The bread was so succulent. I think it's on my ass right now with 5 pounds each. But it was decadent, and the dessert was extraordinary. So that was mine. What was yours?
I would say extra virgin as well, but I actually liked the pizza.
The pizza?
The pizza was good. I'm a simple girl. I just like the pizza.
Okay. And Alex, I don't know if I know you have a couple things going on right now. You're doing kid duty. Did you want to tell them your favorite restaurant? If you can, just pop in if you want. Okay. Tom wants to know, what's the party life like? Now, I got to give you some background on Tom. We're going to be very candid here. So you guys know we've done these Tops optional cruises with another company. It's wild, way wilder actually, but also awesome people, different kinds of people, very accepting, as Alex like kind of mentioned right away. No judging. Like, it's like, these are not the mean girls or the cliques. These are the cool cats that are just lifting each other up and all that stuff. But Tom is like, he's a wild child. I love having him on board. We were on board with Celebrity when they chartered the ship. And he asked me, if I go on this cruise, what's the difference? And I'm like, well, it's a lot different. I mean, while we had that wild epic party on Scarlet Night, and, even a couple girls took their tops off, and that was like pretty racy. The Tops optional cruise is another level of 60% of them would have their tops off, and it's a kind of it's a surreal experience. So what was the party like? The party was absolutely epic. Everybody wanted to have fun. As you can see, I'm gonna I'll share my screen again. Just the parties were great. They were crazy. But most people had their clothes on. And I think that kind of is a big difference. I don't think you can compare the two, Tom, but it was awesome. I mean, it was awesome. And I think a lot of first-time cruisers go on this too. That's also really cool. Let's see. Tamatha, she says, I love that special touch he gave. It was amazing. So glad we chose the occasion to celebrate our honeymoon. The staff and entertainment was top notch. The entertainment was amazing. And you like the Razzle Dazzle steak? Okay. And they have bacon there at the Razzle Dazzle. They have like a maple bacon, which is pretty cool.
That was the best bacon ever.
Yeah, that is like, and there's all those kind of like secret things that's one of the things as a host, I get a little bit like, oh, come on, just tell everybody, because it's hard to keep up with all those little things. But I also know that it's kind of the surprise and delight that is such a special treat, in all of this. So you kind of have to get on the inside scoop. Shannon also knew some inside scoops that I didn't know, because she went to some grog walk, and I guess they give you some inside tips. But that maple bacon in the Razzle Dazzle is amazing. And Razzle Dazzle is actually a vegetarian forward restaurant, and they do have meat. You just have to ask for it. So that's really funny. Let's see. Every night, a new party and a new adventure. Yeah, there was a new party and a new adventure every night. I agree with that. And it was great though, Tom. You really have to. Well, you'll be. Are you going to be at Halloween on Dominican Republic, or are you actually going? I think you might be going on to Cancun. We're going to Dominican Republic for Halloween. Anyway, you'll have to let me know. Anyway, so anyone else that would like to pop on, I wanted to say thank you so much for joining us, Nancy. It was amazing to have this experience with you. It was very meaningful. And I got to say, one of my best gifts ever. Nancy got me this little keychain. Can you even? Like, these are the kind of special little things. Like, I cherish this, what it means. And it's these special things. It's just not normal connection. It's like just another level of love. And
I agree, girl.
yeah, I love you so much. Okay, happy birthday. Bye-bye for now. And thank you for joining us. All right, Alex, I'm going to take you off the screen just because I know you're busy, but thank you so much for joining us too. If anyone else wants to join us, just pop in. I want to go over some pictures and just talk about, Richard Branson a little bit, because if you didn't know about him, now you do. He's a self-made billionaire. He came from a very regular family. So I'm going to give you a couple pictures of him on board. Like I said, he came from a very regular family, and he actually dropped out of school at 15 years old because he was dyslexic. He had a really hard time with regular schooling systems, but they didn't really, know what dyslexia was at the time. So he got an opportunity he did a student newspaper. That's how it worked out. He did a student newspaper. Was during the Vietnam War, so where young people were starting to sort of push against the norm, and he was like, there was no voice for young people back then, right? You're talking the 60s, where it was still coming off that conventional 1950s, mom and dad rule the world, old people only know what to do, young people are stupid, they don't have any voice. Well, this was when Richard Branson saw an opportunity to make a newspaper for students, and they could have a voice, and it was a nonprofit. And one of the very cool things, this is us at his resort, one of the very cool things that I learned that I think is very neat is that he had a hotline, an 800 number for kids that were in trouble. Now, remember, he was in England too, where they're a little bit more conservative even than the US. And this would be a number that kids could call if they had an unwanted pregnancy, if they were raped, if they were needing STD help. So he was out thinking, what could I do better? Because these people need help. And they had an 800 number so that they can connect them with help for really serious situations that they weren't comfortable going to their parents with. And, that's like a really humanitarian thing to do at such a young age. So the paper got so big, his principal actually said, you're either going to stop the newspaper or leave school. And he said, thank you for that easy decision. And then he talked to his parents, and his father and mother were very against it. But his father said they took a walk around the garden, and the first round, he said, this is really a bad idea. You should stay in school. And the second round, he said, but if you really feel passionate about it and you want to stick with the paper, then I'll support you. And he said, thank you so much. And he decided to run this little newspaper thing. And it did become profitable, actually. He just had friends working on the same thing with him, pretty much at a loss until the end. And with that money, he ended up starting Virgin Records. So that was how Virgin Records came to be. And now Virgin Records I think he was in his late teens. This was him on board. He such good guy spirit. He was only about 18 when he started Virgin Records, or early 20s, and it really was kind of a little bit of a scam, in a sense where he basically had just found out that if you had imported the records from a different country and you didn't have to pay the taxes, he basically was 33% tax or something that he got out of. And so he was able to bring the records in, I think from Belgium, don't quote me on that. And then he would sell them to people at a lower cost than what they were normally able to purchase them at. So he became very popular because he could get records for cheaper. But then Customs and Duty caught up with him, and they arrested him. And he had an opportunity to either pay a $150,000 fine. We're talking back in the early 70s, and he had not even graduated high school, or go to jail or face jail time. And he decided to pay it off. So he just made the record company profitable, and then paid off his tax evasion bill. And and his parents put up their house for bail. God bless him. And then that was the beginning of his being a real businessman, and an entrepreneur. But along the way, he's done so much for humanity in general. He started a condom company called Mates. Mates, Mates. And when I first heard it, I thought because they're English, you're going to be friends. But also, of course, it has that dual double entendre of mating. They wanted to call it virgin condoms, he said, but then the people laughed at him and said, no, you don't want just virgins using your condoms. But they started that company too, and they did really forward-thinking commercials that were just the actual what happens when you're a young person trying to buy a condom for the first time in the 70s. It's very embarrassing. It was really cutting edge. It was really addressing the elephant in the room. And he did that to help because the AIDS epidemic was so high at that point. I mean, that's, again, such an incredible humanitarian-like vision. He said when we had our private Q&A, he said that he never asks his accountants anything first before business. He actually does not ask the accountants. So that's really interesting. He said if he asked the accountants, they would say no. Let me see what this Facebook person said. British Burning Man with showers. Probably 30% of the guests were British. Everyone had interesting stories. Yes, that's absolutely true. I totally agree with that. Did anyone take the mixology class? I think a few of our people did. Yes, a couple of people did. It's all cheeky. Like taking anything with the staff is all a different experience. Like very cheeky, very the millennials are running the show here, and I think this is another thing about Richard Branson. When he puts things out there, he's so forward, he's so ahead of his time, and really does not care. Where I think most companies are trying to beat the millennial out of them, and I have a 14-year-old, so I understand things are changing. We're not living in the same world as we were, Oh, okay. I'll definitely. That's a great thing to say too. Yeah, I want to mention that the singer was Freddie Mercury reincarnated with a band. Free Label love them so much. Yeah, the art, the bands, the singing, they really are trying to do things differently, and a lot of it, like that last night, the circus show was like a 70s porn star. Like, not that I've even seen 70s porn, but I know the mustache and the crazy outfits, like, the onesies with the guys all doing their sexy thing, very Freddie Mercury. Like, there was a lot of that. I want to finish my statement about what Richard Branson's journey has been. So he does the condom thing, then he got into Virgin Atlantic. He got into the airline business. I've said this story before, but it's still so great because he wanted to go see his girlfriend in Puerto Rico, and they had canceled the flight, and British Airways canceled the flight. So he went downstairs and was like, how much is it to charter a flight? And he ended up going back and saying, it's $39. He borrowed a chalkboard, and he was like, $39. You can get up there and do your thing and come to Puerto Rico with me, one-way trip. And when he got off the plane, one of the guys said, if you put a little elbow grease into this, you could be a better airline than British Airways. And so he got to thinking, well, why not? And this is when he says he never would ask the accountant if you're going to get one used 747 against British Airways that has 300 and they made it really hard for him. They wanted to squash him, and they did some really shitty things. I can relate, Richard. The big guys trying to push you down because you're doing well. It's so annoying. Yeah, they ended up getting taken to court for libel, and it was the largest suit, $11 million Richard Branson got, because they basically were trying to say he was going under, spreading rumors that his airline was going under, and it wasn't. And some people actually think that's still true from old days. And so they actually did win that court case. He was not going under, and he had to be very creative with his advertising. So he hired helium balloons that would say, like, big Goodyear blimps that would put down British Airways, and it said BA can't get it up was written on a big air balloon, and they knew that they would put the NBC people would put the cameras on there, so you got some free airtime on major networks. This is what spawned his hot air balloon ride across the Atlantic and then the Pacific. There is a great documentary called "Don't Look Down" that his son made with his video production company, which I highly recommend. Don't Look Down. And it was this journey. I think that he was trying to do it for PR reasons for the airline, but it was this journey that really defined who Richard Branson was. He had 2 small children. He married Joan. He had a first wife. They were actually swingers, and I think that's why there's like this inclusivity of all this stuff. And it didn't work out, which a lot of relationships with that do that don't. And we are not swingers, by the way, just for the record. We're just not judgmental. We love hanging out with you, but Joel and I are monogamous. I'm kind of conventional, actually, when it comes to that, and I don't mind saying that. I love sensuality and doing my sexy thing, but I'm pretty conservative. But anyway, but we still love everyone's vibe, and I think that's why he's so inclusive. He'll dress up in heels and do his crazy thing just to say, this is the future, whatever. We're not judging it. He's not, I don't even know what he is, but he seems to be just a dad and a grandfather to me. Him and Joan have been married 40 years. They have 2 children, and seems to me like he lives a pretty conventional life. But back then he was trying to push the limits and get exposure and PR as best possible. And that meant having a hot air balloon ride across the Atlantic and then across the Pacific, where 5 other people had perished trying just in recent times. In fact, the Pacific, the Japanese tried to beat him to it, a Japanese guy, and he died just a few months prior. So it was really dangerous. And that documentary, I think everybody that even likes Richard Branson a little bit should watch that documentary, and that his son made it is amazing. He just grabbed a whole bunch of tapes from the side of the room. These VHS tapes were in the side of Richard's bedroom, and his son just one day went through it and made this movie. But that was how he got his name on the map. And then he ended up selling Virgin Records in order to keep the airline alive. So that happened, and at the time it seemed like a kind of crazy thing to do, but then in retrospect it was the best thing to do, because Apple and iPod and all that stuff came out and records became a dead thing. So it was actually a really smart thing to do. He sold at the right time, but he didn't know that then. And then from the Virgin Atlantic, then he has branding all over the world. He basically franchises his brand out. So they have Virgin Hotels. They have now, of course, Virgin Voyages, which was the big cruise ship endeavor. He has 4 ships now. And, they're trying to change the game to make it for that luxury, upscale, but not stuffy clientele. But also in the same breath, it brings the entrepreneurs and the spirited and the all ages. It doesn't matter how old. My favorite story actually comes on this cruise is from one of my passengers who's over 70, and she is such an inspiration, and she was so cool. I'm so glad she came, and she's so glad she came. But her story was about this last couple years, she's had so many health issues that were really unique. And that's her story to share, but really tough stuff to go through. And she's older, so it's harder to recover. And she was the one scuba diving. She was the one snorkeling. She was squeezing the shit out of life. And on the last night, Richard Branson walked towards her, and she stopped him and she said, "Richard, I came on this cruise to meet you." And he stopped, he turned around, he extended his hand. She extended hers. And he kissed her hand and said, "I'm so glad to meet you." What a gentleman, a billionaire. And just stopping for this woman who deserves his attention. And it's just, it gives me such hope that I could do it too. And that's what it's all about. We have we just want to improve what our business is all about, just improving upon what's already being done, right? I see so many improvements I could make with the singles world. I love giving this gift to people of feeling included, of this gift of just not of taking down these barriers, of these weird, these shields people put up. I mean, I want to be a part of allowing people this beautiful experience of just meeting another human being that you've never met before and learning something new and feeling something different. I mean, there's just so much to it. The shows were beyond cool. The fun, I mean, I'm not actually a big picture taker. I know you don't believe that, but like I only take pictures because I have to. I'm much more of it in the moment. This was the pool party, by the way. They had all these floaties out there, spare no expense. This was part of our group. This is a great picture. I don't know. Joel's hilarious. He's the best. But this is just a small little sliver. It's not even close to what we experienced. There's Richard. He's at the pool party. He came. He said, "Thank you for coming." This is another one of our little quick picks by Virgin Voyages. And again, the beach is extraordinary. The restaurants were fantastic. This is actual tour that Richard and his son went on, but we went on it too earlier that day. So he got in there and did the same sort of tour as we did with these cenotes, which is so cool. This is just a few snapshots, but we're living the life. We didn't even do any group photos. I'm sorry, team. I should have done that. But we just got, caught up. It's just so busy. And this was one of our hosts for the beach games. We all did some beach games, which was so fun and crazy and silly. Yeah, he was a classy dude. And yes, we have someone that did the mixology and they tied it into the photography. This is, a couple of my awesome, cool guests, just living the dream. Our next one, I know that's the question. They gave lots of promos on board. We're going to be doing some promos. The next one that I have some people on that I'd like to suggest is December 30th to January 4th on the Valiant New Year's. It's the same itinerary as we just did, but the price is right and it's awesome. Okay. Thank you for doing that. I'm going to put that up there. And if you'd like to do that with us, let us know. The other one that's really cool that we already have like 5 people on, and I think might be a stellar experience, is the 14-night Ancient Athens to Dubai. So it does Athens, which is a great port to get into. It's easy to fly into. And then it does Santorini, long day in Santorini, Rhodes, Cairo, Safaga, and then Dubai. You're overnight in Dubai on the ship. And then, of course, you should extend your stay if you can. So that is pretty special. Thank you for this. I don't know who said this, but I wish I knew. First day, I knew maybe 4 people, including Shelby and Joel. By the end, I feel like I had 200 actual new friends, many of which have connected already on Facebook and Insta. Is this Matthew? Our dancing king. Oh my gosh, love him. And yes, Matthew Thomas is so happy. She's one of your 200 new friends. Yeah, it was just, you're all in for New Year's? Okay, awesome. I would love to do that. I think that's a great one. And it's easy. It's just out of Miami. No drama. They're lifting the protocol for COVID. Actually, they're allowing 10% of people without vaccinations. So if you are not vaccinated, and I know this has been such a ridiculous couple years, and believe me, I understand both sides. I really, really do. And I respect everybody's decision to do what they feel is right for them in such an uncertain time. Obviously, we didn't have much choice because we were in the travel industry, and I don't like that we didn't have choice, but this was what we were dealing with. This was our reality. So I know I have a lot of unvaxxed friends that have been really wanting to cruise, but just can't. So I just want to tell you that Virgin Voyages just opened it up, and I'm sure this is the way most of the cruise lines are going. They're stopping the testing for COVID, which that's a whole different talking point. I haven't really thought about my talking points. So let me just clear my mind for a moment so I don't get misunderstood. Just when we left, July 18th, they came out with information that most of the major cruise lines are going to be ending the COVID testing. How I feel about this is several ways. Number one, I kind of liked the idea that, one thing you did know when you got on a cruise ship is that nobody had COVID when they came on. So that was cool. However, 3 years into this pandemic, epidemic, whatever the heck you want to call it, pandemic, I don't care what you want to call it. We're here. I feel like we all have to, I've always felt this way since the very beginning, that anyone who's treating this as if you can get away from it, as like you can sidestep it, is not operating with full science information. And I did my bachelor's is in science, by the way. And so I don't want to act like I'm a doctor, but I'm no slouch when it comes to studying. And as soon as this came out and I got educated on it, I had a lot of feelings I probably can't share, but I also can share that it's a virus and there's no way you're escaping it. My first initial feeling was either there's no avoiding it with your mask, not happening. You're not going to avoid the virus with your mask. And this is not a bacterial virus. This is an animal born. So you can't vaccinate your way out of it either, like you can polio. It's not the same. So anyone who says differently is just misinformed. And I'm sorry if you're upset about that, but it's not a virus you can stop with the vaccines, and it's not a virus you can avoid with masks. Unless everyone has N95 masks, and if they all wear them at all times, then okay, maybe we could. But at some point, you're going to touch things, and you're going to breathe, and you're going to take your mask off, so you're never going to get out of it. So I always thought from the very beginning, we can't walk around this. We're going to have to walk through it. And I and my husband and my family are going to be exposed at some time or another, and either we are going to get it, or we're going to be one of those weird genetic freaks that doesn't get it. Or we're going to be one of those weird genetic freaks that really get sick from it, and we don't know how to treat it just yet. So, of course, we were trying to be as careful as possible in the beginning, because we don't want to be one of the front people that gets it because they don't know how to treat it. They clearly did not. They've made a lot of mistakes. Very sad, horrible. But after a year or two, now we've all been exposed, and we all know how our bodies are reacting to it and mutating. And we're not sure if the vaccine helped. And that's the truth. Nobody really knows. Nobody knows. We don't know. And if you say you know, that's untrue. There's no way we can tell because we didn't do a controlled study. So there's no way to tell. However, since we're all going to be exposed to it, and it is going to be a part of our lives forever, I feel like I understand why they don't want to test for it, because it is really jamming up a lot of people's vacations, and a lot of people are asymptomatic and they're just testing positive. And people that are positive are not testing. I don't test positive. I've never tested positive. Although I think I might have had it. I've never tested positive. I don't know why. I can see where they want to get travel started again. Now, the vaccine conversation is a whole ball of wax that I really am going to lightly touch, because I don't want this to be about that. But they are allowing people to cruise non-vax now, like up to 10% on Virgin. So if you are unvaxxed and you want to come on, let me know, because I want to register you early so that we can get you in that 10% pouch. In fact, I know I have two specific guests that definitely were going to be on this cruise, but wouldn't get a vaccine. So they're already booked for the New Year's cruise. I'm happy to say that I can get them on. And this is going to be a transitional time. COVID is still here, even though we are vaxxed and on the ship, we're still having breakouts of COVID. That's happening. The way they're dealing with it on the ship is all over the place. We didn't have any experience like that on Virgin. In fact, every cruise we've been on, we haven't had that experience. We've been so lucky. We got some lucky juice, like rub elbows with us. I don't know why. All the other cruises have had really bad COVID outbreaks. The big group cruises that I know of with singles, all of them have had really bad outbreaks. We have not. I think because we had adults only. I think also because we chose more higher end cruising, and there were less people. I think that had something to do with it too. Anyway, it's happening. Or cruising is going to be opening up. We do have one cruise line that we're going to be promoting for all of our rebels that's totally unvaxxed, and we're going to go with them. And we're not afraid to go with them. And that's happening very soon. We'll tell you about that soon. But yeah, Nancy got COVID on a cruise this year. It's not going to end. We have to walk through this. We can't walk around it. And you all, of course, I hope it goes without saying, Of course, I don't want anybody to get sick or die. For crying out loud, of course not. I mean, I thought Joel would be one of the cases to be one of those young people to die because he's got an overactive, really great immune system. And it early on, some of these really young virile men were dying from this because their bodies are attacking itself. And I thought, oh God, that's my husband right there. But that being said, I also know some people are in bad health and like you just can't risk it. And if I was in that situation, I would make your same decision. But if you're not in that situation, we still want to live our lives. I mean, I don't think there's any shame in that. And I don't like the shaming at all. And I won't be a part of that. Like I won't be a part of shaming people into getting a vaccine or shaming people because they chose not to. I won't. I will not be a part of it because if that's where you're at, you're really not listening to both sides of the story. I would also say, if you don't know who Dr. Malone is, and if you haven't been on Telegram, you only have half the story. So it's hard to even say that you made a decision. You only had half. I'm in social media, as you know. I mean, I've ran huge accounts, politics, all kinds of businesses. In fact, when travel was low, I was doing tons of small business consultants with their social media. And I am here to tell you that they are absolutely censoring. I can't even tell you how I feel, and because I run too many accounts, and they are censoring, and that is not a good message. If you can only stop the information, it doesn't mean it's not right. It just means they don't want you to talk. And that's not a debate. That's not a discussion. And that's not sharing of information. And that is very, very concerning to me. So I see both sides of the story completely. And I think, we're at the point where we're ready to move forward through this. And we're ready for cruising to start again. All right, I'll end with this. New Year's is our time. I'm going to do the pictures, the photos for those of you who just got on board. We're looking at stuff. We're probably doing ancient Athens to Dubai. If you'd like to do that, let us know. This is Richard Branson on board. This is Joel being Joel. There's Richard again. This is what most people encountered when they came on board. This is a bunch of guy power, these great guys that we, just get to hang out with and learn from. One of our group dinners, one of our crazy nights at the Scarlet Red Night. We had wild fun. Oh, it was so great to meet Rhonda, Nancy, and Shannon. And this is Kelly, who is fantastic, and she's local. She's going to be on my podcast. This was part of the pool party. It's part of the earlier pool party. Richard at the pool party, us in front of the ship, and of course, us at the beach. And Richard went on the same type of tour as we had chosen. It's another good picture of us. And I'll end with that party pic. So we are so happy to, just having experienced this with you. It was special. It was exciting. The anticipation was excellent. The delivery was great. I always feel like I could improve a little bit on entertainment. They really do deserve a cruise director that is experienced like myself to tie up a few loose ends there. But the experience ultimately was magic. And I am so, so thankful to have you guys be a part of our group and want to be a part of our group. And I see so many leaders being developed through this. And I know a couple of them expressed some travel agent. They want to be travel ambassadors. They want to be the cruise director. And I want to tell you, I'm here to give you the baton. It's time for me to fly. I want to teach what I know. I have a recipe for success. And I want you to be able to do that for the groups that you're passionate about, because this is a really special thing in life, a gift I can give you. And you're all worthy. And if you love travel and you want to be able to have some groups and make it into a little side biz, it's not an MLM. It's not a quick rich thing. It's a real business. And, it's something that travel is the biggest booming industry coming up 22, 23, according to Google. So if you're ready to get on board, we have the right solutions for you and the right training. So just message me and I'll give you some more info. But this was magic. This is going to go down in the books as one of the most exciting inspiring cruises I've ever been on. So thank you for watching. I'm Shelby. You're fabulous. Bye, Richard. It was so great to sail with you.
And don't forget, I want to connect on social with you. Facebook, Shelby Frenette, ShelbyLive.com. And we have Instagram, Solo Travel Expert. And of course, Solo Travel TV, YouTube, and LinkedIn, Shelby Frenette. I'm Shelby. You're fabulous. I'll see you on social.